long does tennis elbow take to heal? If you've had it a while, you may already be wondering what the heck is taking so long. It's really confusing. You hear about some tennis elbow injuries that people seem to recover from in just weeks, while others drag on month after month. Why is that? This is Alan Millett from Tennis Elbow Classroom, and this is one of the most common questions I'm asked by patients in my office and by my student members online. Let's take a quick look at some of the top mainstream medical sites to see if they have a definitive answer. WebMD says the injury takes 6 to 12 months to heal and that patience helps. Really? Just be patient? Cigna, a big HMO, also says 6 to 12 months, but in some cases 2 years or longer. Yikes! Here's a patient information sheet linked to from the British Medical Journal blog saying that it takes 1 to 3 months. But recurrences are common. Well, 1 to 3 months sounds a lot faster, but if it so often recurs, it must not be healing in the first place, right? And finally, we have the National Health Services in the UK who say that tennis elbow is a self-limiting condition that often gets better all by itself, apparently without treatment, but can persist for over a year. Wow, does over a year sound self-limiting to you? What, you're supposed to just wait a year and see if it goes away? What if it hasn't? How much patience are you expected to have when you can't lift a jug of milk, open a jar, turn a doorknob, or even brush your teeth without pain for months on end? So clearly, there's a wide range of answers to this simple question, how long it takes to recover from tennis elbow, even from authoritative medical sites, which claim 1 to 3 months on the low end to 2+ years on the high end. Well, one obvious reason for this disparity is because the injury varies a great deal from case to case. Another is that choice of treatment also varies a lot from person to person. And we also have to keep in mind that our healing capacity slows as we age. And that can make quite a difference when you compare the healing of a 20-year-old to a 50 or 60-year-old. But none of that really gets to the heart of the matter. The bottom line is, tennis elbow is a tendon injury, and tendons heal slowly and unpredictably by their very nature. Now, I know it's really challenging to face this fact when you're in chronic pain, but that's the simple truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Healing a tendon is nothing like healing muscle, skin, or bone, all of which have rich blood supplies. And that means faster healing abilities. Surprisingly, a broken bone, properly set and cast, usually heals at a predictable, steady rate. And naturally, we want to believe tendons heal like that too. But tendons very often don't heal steadily. And if they're not treated properly, they often don't heal at all, or at least not completely. That's not to say you can't recover, though. The good news is, if your tennis elbow is in its earliest stage, it's often fairly easy to break the cycle. In this best-case scenario, it can take as little as a few weeks to reverse it, recover, and be pain-free. Again, that's if you catch it early, though, and you treat it the right way. Because at its earliest stage, it's often nothing more than a combination of muscle tension and weakness. So there's no real injury yet, and there's really little to no damage to repair. This is a line you really don't want to cross if you can help it, though, because once that vicious injury cycle starts snowballing downhill and you have real damage to your tendons, it's likely going to take some effort to turn around, and realistically, it can take a few months. Now, here's the most important thing to keep in mind, especially if you already have a full-blown injury. Just because time is passing does not mean that tendon healing is happening, even if you have completely stopped the activity that caused your tennis elbow. The bad news is there's no statute of limitations on how long it can take to heal. That's the tricky part, because once tendon damage occurs, there's no guarantee any healing will happen at all while you're resting, hoping, and waiting. And that's why this average or typical recovery time guess is all over the map and practically meaningless. And that's why just resting and taking this let's just wait and see approach is not a sensible strategy. Now, of course, you still want to know how long it's going to take to heal your tennis elbow. And I hope for your sake that it's sooner rather than later. But since it's so hard to predict, even for medical doctors with MRI scans and other tools at their disposal, may I suggest a different focus instead? That is to make sure you fully understand the true nature of your tennis elbow and that you're making the right treatment choices. Because there's more to it than it seems, and unfortunately, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions out there. And too many people are still getting caught in what I call the tennis elbow triple trap and finding out only much later how many mistakes were made and how much time was wasted suffering needlessly. Well, I'd like to help you avoid that if possible. And in that spirit, I have many more articles, videos, and podcasts for you about what tennis elbow is, what causes it, the right and the wrong ways to treat it, and how to treat it yourself. Learn more at tenniselbowclassroom.com.